Hey there, Fighting Atheist, Evangelical One here. I just watched your video entitled God Does Not Exist, and I wanted to make a response to it. Now, the argument that you present for atheism is one that I have heard before. However, it is, in my opinion, a fatally flawed argument, for it commits the fallacy of begging the question. You define existence or unexistent thing as an entity which is composed of matter and or energy. Well, that is assuming that atheism is true. So what your argument boils down to is, if atheism is true, then atheism is true. Well, that doesn't really get us any closer to answering the question, does God exist or not? So the a thing, it may be the case um, that there are only material things that do exist. That may be true, but it might not. You can't assume it at the beginning when the issue at hand is there excuse me, when the issue at hand is there a spiritual reality, namely God. So you're kind of stacking the deck, loading the dice from the beginning to get the result that you want, which again is logically fallacious. Now, you then go on and say that uh, a miraculous event is defined as a violation of the law of nature, and you say that nature can't be violated, so therefore miracles can't occur. Well, again, this is redefining terms in a question-begging way so that you get the results you want. A miracle, by definition, is not a violation of the laws of nature. That is a common misunderstanding that we find in the writings of David Hume, for example, and I believe you had a picture of Hume when you were discussing this, so you're probably already familiar with that argument of Hume's against the possibility of believing reliable testimony for a miracle. So, a miracle, by definition, is something which God does if, in addition to his usual providential ordering of nature, something that God does that's extraordinary, that cannot be explained naturally, and that points to the authority of a spokesman for God. So the people writing the Bible, for example, could perform miracles so that we would know that the Bible is the Word of God, that we can trust these people as accurately representing the mind of God. Now, with respect to the first argument about matter, all entities have to be material and or composed of matter and or energy. If I were to say to you, God is defined as the being which must exist, therefore atheism is equivalent to self-contradiction, you would not go for that argument. Because I'm defining, we have to be careful how we define things. So something may potentially exist that is not material. We don't know until a posteriori, after the conclusion, of empirical observation or rational argumentation. Um, and we don't. Let's see. The so the fact is that the argument that you presented is fallacious, so inconclusive. Um, Now, as a person who does believe in God, I could come back and give my own argument for the existence of God, and it might go something like this. Um, the world, so it's not just a something that is believed by a blind leap in the dark. It's something that we know is true on the basis of reason, evidence, logic. So we see various things in the world around us. We see a world around us. Everything within the world, and indeed the world as a whole, could have been otherwise. For example, I did not have to be born. It's logically possible that my parents never met and fell in love and procreated me, in which case I would not be here now. So I am here now, but I didn't have to be. So my existence, or the world as a whole, is a contingent thing. So that which is contingent could have been otherwise than in fact it is. Well, the one thing that we know about contingent entities is that they are not responsible for their own existence. So my existence as a contingent being is dependent, as I said, on that of my parents and certain actions on the part of my parents. So the universe as a whole is contingent, therefore it is dependent on something outside of itself to bring it into being or to sustain it in being. So whether the universe had a beginning or not, the fact is it is contingent and therefore requires an outside cause, and this would be it's not part of the universe. This being is not part of the universe, which the universe is all of nature. So the being outside of nature is what we would normally say is a supernatural being. So we see that there must exist, there simply has to exist some type of transcendent supernatural being which is responsible for the being of the contingent universe that we live in. And this being we normally refer to as God. So that's one of many arguments I could give, the Leibnizian cosmological argument, as it's traditionally called. Well, no, I suppose that would be more the Thomistic cosmological argument. So there are other arguments in addition to that. So there is one valid argument in contrast to your one invalid argument. So it seems that to believe that there is a God is more rational, at least based on what you've said and what I've said so far. And there might be more things to consider in addition, but so far it seems that it's more rational to believe in God than to believe that there is no God. And I do hope to hear something by way of response from you, and perhaps we can continue dialogue for a while. At any rate, again, this is Evangelical 1. Thanks for allowing me to post this, and have a wonderful day. Shalom.